Next, regarding the questions on torsional stress, first question, shear center. So we did not discuss a shear center. I'll make a small video on basics on this shear center and shear flow later in concept video. First I will explain you whatever required to solve this. So shear center is a point through which the load acts such that, okay. So basically, as we did not discuss about this, so just to get an idea, whenever there is a unsymmetry in bending, in such situations, without applying the torsion, still the beam rotates. When you apply the torsion, the beam will rotate, it's quite common, but without applying the torsion also, in some situations the beam will rotate because of the unsymmetry in section. So even though when the load is passing through centroid, it is twisting. So to counteract the twist, we need to create counteract torsion, we can say, counteract torsion. So when you are creating a counteract torsion, that will compensate this torsion. So the point about which you have to pass the load instead of centroid to avoid this torsion effect is known as shear center. For example, if we have a beam like this, so in the beam, so imagine this is the thickness, so this is the thickness of the beam. So in this thickness, by default I generally assume that in the center of the, when I say a load W, by default I actually assume that it is at the center line. Even in the beam, if the load is slightly away from the center, it obviously twists the beam. So so in this case, it is twisting even though it is passing through centroid. So to counteract this, what we have to do, we have to create a compensate torsion. So we have to move away from the center line. So which point is best, which point neutralizes this torsion effect is known as shear center. Okay. So shear center is a point through which the load should act such that only twisting acts, shear and bending acts but no twisting, yes. So this should be the answer. Next question. A section of shaft, a bending moment of 8 kN and a twisting moment of 6 kN act together, the equivalent torsion is. So we know equivalent torsion is given by square root of m square plus t square. So square root of 6 plus 8 square means 10. We have 3, 4, 5 as a triangle. So this is also looking like a similar triangle. 6, 8 means obviously this will become 10. Similar triangle property. No need to calculate. Torsion per unit twist stiffness, direct question. Next, again a question from shear center. In a section, shear center is a point through which if the resultant passes the section that that will not be subjected to obviously torsion. When a circular shaft is subjected to torsion, shear stress induced in the shaft at its center shall be 0. Because we know the shear stress distribution, when a circular shaft is subjected to torsion, what is the shear stress distribution? So at the center tau is 0. Next question, this is a different type of question, that is torsion of tube. So difference between tube and hollow section is, for a tube you will not get 2 diameters. Whenever we have a hollow section, 2 diameters will be given. What is the internal diameter, outer they mention something, this is outer dia and this is thickness, something like this. But in some situations, if you see, the torsional rigidity of a tube of thickness 1 mm and diameter 200 mm. So when they give like this, they actually means that it is the center line diameter. So and the rigidity modulus is 100 gigapascal is. So how to solve this question? So for whenever they are giving a thin tube, then J, so if you find J by pi into d to the power of 4 minus d to the power of 4 divided by 32, and the torsional rigidity is G into J. So if you find like this, you may approximately get the answer, but there is much simpler way to get this for a tube. For tube it varies slightly with a different formula. So the actual formula which we should use is, for J values, 2 pi r cube into T So whereas the tube will have uniform thickness T. So by simply substituting 2 pi r cube, so here diameter is 200 means r is 100, T is 1 mm. So 100 1 mm, 2 into pi, 2 into 3.14 means 6.28 something. Now torsional rigidity is G into J. So J is 6.28 something and G is also into 100. So you need not see about units because all the values are obviously varying. So even by seeing the options you can see they are multiples of pi. So they want us to calculate by thin tube section formula only, because in exam sometimes if they give 618 and 628 then it will be very risky for us. So it's better to use the exact formula. So in this situation 2 pi r cube into T, so 2 into 3.14 6.28 into 100, whatever the calculation that happens regarding units, directly we can take the answer. Okay, so that's about this. Apart from this, as there is a question from thin walled section, so in future if they ask for rectangle, so just for safety, for rectangle if there is a variation in thickness along length and width also, if there is variation, then how do we find the torsional, how do we find the J value means? So generally for rectangle how we find J value? We have to find Ixx, we have to find Iyy and add them, right? But here we should not do like that. For hollow section we have a different formula. So 2b square h square t1 t2 by b t1 plus h t2, where t1 is the thickness of along this height and t2 is the thickness along the width. So b t1 and h t2. Okay. Suppose if t1 is equal to t2, what happens? You can see this will become 2b square h square t divided by b plus h. So 2b square h square by b plus h into t, that is what you get finally. Okay, so if t1 is equal to t2, so just for safety remember that, so in future if the question comes. Okay, so this is one thing. And the second thing, in thin walled section sometimes shear stress, they may ask you shear stress. This is also one of the important formula only, because in recent around GATE 2019 I guess there is a question from this formula, exact same formula 19 or 20. So there may be a possibility if the question come directly. So that's why remember the shear stress value in case of thin walled section, that is torsion divided by 2t into AM. What is this AM means? They will give you the radius from the center line, right? You have to find the mid area of the center line. Mid area of the center line. So if you join the center line, what is the area that is occupied by the center line? That is called AM. So if you substitute that AM here, you will get the tau value. Okay, so this is also considered to be important, so that's why I am making this video. Okay, so remember J value for tubes. Generally this we will be using in steel structures. This formula generally we will be using in steel structures, and J value and tau average. Okay, so the correct key is option C. Okay, next the ratio of strength of solid to hollow shafts, but whatever the calculation required I have given, so just cross check the answer. I have a doubt, currently I don't have calculator to check that. The ratio of strengths of solid to hollow shafts both having outside here, what is the common thing? Ratio of strengths of solid to hollow shafts both having outside diameter d and hollow having inside diameter d by 2 is, so 1 minus k to the power of 4, 1 minus, so d and d by 2, so this will be 1 by 2 whole to the power of 4, 15 by 16. Option D. Next, which one of the following is not correctly matched? Lamy's constant, Macaulay's theorem, Euler's theorem, buckling theorem, Eddy's theorem. Eddy's theorem is for arches we have Eddy's theorem and cables. So option D is the right answer. Maximum twist a shaft can resist, maximum twist, so T by J is equal to, is the product of polar moment of inertia. Okay, T by J is equal to G theta by L is equal to tau by So is the product of permissible shear stress and, so obviously they are concentrating this, so tau into J divided by R. So obviously polar modulus we can say, option D. The maximum twist a shaft can resist is the product of permissible shear stress and polar modulus. Indirectly they are saying polar section modulus. So this is nothing but tau into Zp, so polar section modulus. If the load does not passes through shear center, the section of the beam, then there will be bending obviously, and there will be twisting also. Inside the diameter of a hollow shaft is 1/3 of outside the diameter, the ratio of its strength capacity. So similar question already we solved with d by 2, sorry 1 minus 1 by 3 whole to the power of 4, 3 power 4 81, so 80 by 81. Next question. Two circular shaft of same length, weight and material are compared for strength. The first one is a solid shaft and the other is hollow shaft of outer to inner diameter ratio as to the ratio of torque carrying capacity of the hollow shaft to solid shaft alone is. So the condition here given is weight. So till now you have seen the problems with same outside diameter. So if you have same outside diameter or same radius, then we have a formula. So I already told you 3 situations for this k value in class also. One is when you have same outside diameter, 1 minus k to the power of 4. Similarly, when you have same area or same weight, both by considering the same density, obviously same weight or same area both will have same meaning. Same weight or same area, second class whatever I have given you, which is 1 plus k square divided by square root of 1 minus k square. And there is one more case I have given you. What is the ratio of weights we should have to get same strength? Ratio of weights to have same strength. So that is given by 1 minus k square divided by 1 minus k to the power of 4 whole to the power of 2 by 3. Okay, so these are the 3 situations we discussed already. So this is one of the most repeating model, we can say, same outside diameter, but the question is now same weight. So when you have same weight, we have to use this formula. When they give same strength, to have same strength, what is the ratio of weights? Then weight of hollow divided by, then we have to use this formula. Okay, so already 1 minus k power 4 we have already got it. So this is the second case, that is 1 plus k square divided by square root of 1 minus k square. So 1 plus k value is 1 by 2 divided by 1 minus k value is 1 by 2 whole square square root. So this will become 2 square 4, 5 by 4 divided by square root of 3 by 4. So you can write this as 5 by 4 into 2 by root 3. 5 by 2 root 3. Or you can write this as 2.5 by root 3. So option A is the right answer. There is a correction here, please note it down. This will be 5 root 3 by 6. You can make this like, this is also known as, so this is 5 by 2 root 3, right? So you can also make this like, or I will show you here only. So see 5 root 3 by 6, 5 into root 3 divided by 3 into 2. So which will become 5 by root 3 into 2. So here also I can make into 3 and by 3 and bring the same value. So into 3 by 3 I can make, which will give me 5 by what I want exactly. Okay, 5 by 2 into 3, 6 root 3, 5 root 3 by 6. Okay. So now you can see these two options are exactly the same. 5 root 3 by 6 or 2.5 root 3 are exactly same, but the answer given is 5 root 3 by 6. Both are exactly same. So in these situations, what we have to do, I already told you the shortcut, don't forget to remember. Okay, so don't forget to remember this type of question. See, this is the final key they have given, but actually while solving I got 2.5 by root 3. Actually both are correct, right? So in that situation, why to take risk? Remember the answer. Okay, I know it's not logical, but still that's what we can do for optimum result. That's all. Next, a beam has a circular cross section. If the plane of loading of the beam does not coincide with the centroidal axis, the member is subjected to. A beam have a circular, if the plane of loading of the beam does not coincide with centroidal axis. So already I told you, if it is not passing through the centroid, obviously it will get torsion. Only for unsymmetrical section or thin walled sections, in that cases we counteract the torsion, but here this is a circular section which is a symmetric section. There is no possibility of unsymmetrical bending. So wantedly, if you are shifting the load away from the centroid, obviously it will have shear force. So axial is not possible, torsion is possible, shear is possible, bending is also possible. So option C will be the right answer. Yena. A beam has a circular cross section. If the plane of loading of the beam does not coincide with the centroidal axis of the beam, the member is no. Option 3 is the right answer. Next, the shear center of angle section is angle section. So there are some standard, only very few standard situations we have to know. One is inverted T. So for inverted T, this is the shear center. For channel section, this is somewhere here, and for angular section, it is at the intersection point. Okay, these three are very, very important, and there is approximate shear distance also we can calculate, b square h square T divided by 4I. Okay, so this is approximate formula to calculate the shear center distance. At the tip of the flange will not be there for angle section. At the intersection of the flanges, at the centroid, obviously centroid will be somewhere here for angle. At the rigidity center of the angle, at the intersection of the flange, option B will be the right answer. Okay, so these three are very, very important. Remember them. Okay, that's it.